So in terms of design, the HTC One, I mean, there's nothing quite like this on the market. I mean, when HTC came out with this design, everyone's jaw dropped. I mean, this is solid aluminium. It feels great in the hand. Okay, it's a little bit weighty, maybe at 160 compared to some models, but it's phenomenal. How are you going to beat this?
It looks good, but you know what? It's huge. I mean, compared to the S5, look at this.
Wow, I think there's not much in it. Maybe you're slightly thinner.
It is thinner. It is lighter. It almost looks like leather on the back.
Yeah, there is the faux leather issue.
Yeah.
Are you into that?
I'm not sure about this.
Is this your thing?
It looks good until you touch it.
Yeah, I think
it looks good until you touch it.
It looks professional. I think they've gone for the kind of high-end suitcase kind of I don't know, for business people.
I mean, especially if you compare this to the Galaxy S3 from like 2 generations ago, it looks more premium, right?
Okay, well, you can't say here's a shitty-looking plastic phone. This is a better shitty-looking plastic phone. It's kind of what you're saying.
I mean, come on, Nicole. Look at your Xperia.
Mine is gorgeous.
It never ever changed since the very first Xperia Z.
Well, you know what you're getting. If you're a Sony fan, you like the design, and I like the design. The aluminium on the edges, and then now they've got the Gorilla Glass in the back and the front. It's a sexy phone. It might be a little fingerprint magnety, but beyond that, it's sexy. It feels solid in your hand. I'm not going to that. I'd destroy that in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I'm claiming a win here. There's just nothing like this ever happened before or since. I think HTC have got something completely unique, and it feels fantastic.
What about the predecessor? The HTC One M7, in my opinion, is even better than this one. This is a little bit too round right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've taken what they had with the M7 and just gone a little bit further with it, right? So it is slightly more rounded, but I think the thing with the M7 was it kind of felt like it was a solid back, but the sides didn't quite feel quite as good. I think this kind of feels more like the real unibody they were after.
But I don't know. In the hand, it does feel better than the M7. But I like the finish of the back of the other one. It felt more solid. Like the finish felt more solid.
I prefer this guy.
Did you just scratch the back?
I did.
I'm pretty sure that we already have like marks on it. You see, that's the difference between this aluminum, between this glass, and between something it's called plastic, almost looks like leather. And to be honest, you know what? There's a saying, substance over style, and that's why I love the Galaxy S5.
I have TV technology in my display.
What?
Yeah.
What?
LCD. IPS triluminous display. The triluminous technology was introduced in the Bravia series of TVs.
Yeah.
TV technology in my display. I don't even know how you guys can beat that.
So did they finally get it right? Because the first Xperia Z and the Xperia Z1 displays were terrible.
No, they have. The viewing angles are good. The color saturation is good. They have settings that will help you with oversaturation to kind of get everything perfect.
You know what? This is what Samsung calls active display. I'm using a Super AMOLED HD display, and I think
from way back when.
Well, not from way back then. I think the AMOLED technology is the best display technology that is around, especially when we're looking at, black is black on my device. When you're looking at the color saturation on an AMOLED display, it looks phenomenal. And now with the active display, you know what? You can't even argue anymore when it comes to bright sunlight, because sometimes in the previous generation it was a little bit hard to see something. Now they fixed this, and I think it looks absolutely brilliant. I think I won this already. You don't even have to argue.
Disagree once again, Sasha. Super LCD 3. It's looking fantastic. 5-inch screen, full HD. Crank up the brightness in the light. It's just beautiful. This is the best display I've ever used. And I've tried your AMOLED, and I've tried AMOLEDs before. But I don't know what to tell you. This is phenomenal.
Do you actually know the story that, when you look at the first HTC Desire, it also came out with an AMOLED display, and then Samsung just basically told HTC, you know what, sorry about that, but we need the AMOLED display. HTC actually wanted to get AMOLED onto their device, but they couldn't because Samsung wasn't delivering them anymore.
But I think, again, it's HTC doing their own thing, as they have done with other parts of the device. I mean, as far as I know, there aren't that many manufacturers around using LCD3, Super LCD3, I should say.
Well,
I think outdoor visibility, mine actually wins out of. I mean, you might have active display now to catch up with what everyone else was doing outside, and using your phone outside to me is the most important thing because I'm never just inside.
HTC's obviously, again, they're plowing their own path. They're going in a different direction from what most of the industry is doing. So you've got larger ultra pixel, 2 micrometer ultra pixels, which is they're much larger than the standard, and you're getting a 4-megapixel camera. So they're not in the megapixel race anymore.
You actually have 2 cameras.
That's right. Well, the other one's kind of a depth perception sensor.
It just tells you that one isn't enough for this device.
It gives you so many options. It gives you a chance to use the Uke focus feature, which means that you can bring things that are closer to you. You can blur the background, or reverse that. You can blur the things that are closer. And
we've also both got that.
We can do the same, but I have a proper 16-megapixel camera. More is more.
20.7, bitches.
Oh, well, you know what? Actually, I think, you know, what they did with a 16-megapixel camera on the Samsung is when it comes to the autofocus, you know what? It's now at 0.3 seconds. So I can do an autofocus in 0.3 seconds. I want to do snapshots with a phone. I think nothing beats the Samsung Galaxy S5 when it comes to this.
I don't know. The Sony Xperia Z2, I love the colors. I love it. And I love there's real slow-mo on here. 120 frames a second. I can do 4K videos, so I can watch it on my TV. I think that this, for like creating an ecosystem of your own content, this takes the cake.
What about the front cameras?
2 megapixels.
2.1?
5.
Whoa, holy shit.
This is a selfie beast.
It's a selfie phone. They should call it the selfie phone.
Wow, come on. I think that, again, they're just trying to differentiate.
So you like to take pictures of yourself,
is that what
don't
you're
you?
into? Yeah.
Well, who doesn't? Come on, guys. How are you going to beat this? Beats audio. It's like a ghetto blaster. It's not a phone. Let's go party.
I also have dual front-facing speakers, but mine, I can use them underwater.
I think dual front-facing speakers are just for people that can't afford a decent headset.
Says the guy with one mono speaker.
So what? So what?
Mono?
You just don't like sharing? You don't want to include your friends into a moment?
Well, the 70s are so over where people are just walking around with these huge ghetto blasters.
Okay, fine then. If you don't like that, then my phone comes with amazing headset that is noise cancelling. Active noise cancelling on headset.
Okay, okay, I give you that. That is a plus.
If you have the right headphones.
If you have the right headphones. But actually, I actually shot a really in-depth video comparing all 3 of these phones with different genres of music. So click on that video if you really want to know and hear the difference between the audio.
Okay, so we've benchmarked these guys, and the difference isn't that great, really, because they're all running the same stock. Qualcomm Snapdragon 801. They're running slightly different versions of it. I think, actually, yours is a slightly higher clocked. Is that right? We're both slightly higher clocked?
Yeah.
Because it seemed to do... well, the Samsung and the HTC seem to do a little bit better in the benchmarks. Yeah.
Well, that's because Samsung and HTC game the benchmarks. I have the moral high ground where Sony actually just plays the benchmark game legitimately.
It's a little difficult to prove, but...
What's legitimately? You know,
it has been shown...
Running faster.
No,
exactly,
Samsung and HTC have been caught out gaming the benchmarks.
Right.
Everybody knows this.
If I want to play a game, I want to make sure that I'm getting the best performance that this device can deliver. Yeah. And I don't care if they're overclocking the GPU while they're doing this, if they're overclocking the CPU. If it works for me, there you go.
In the industry, it's known as optimization.
There you go. I agree. Okay. And you know what? This is around for 20 years. Intel and AMD are doing this too.
But if you're just optimizing for quadrant, I have a problem with that. 3,200 milliamperes. How are you guys even going to compete against that?
Specs. 2,800.
2,600.
Oh.
You know, sizes and everything. You've heard that before.
Welcome
right?
to the year 2012.
Look, I'm getting a full day out of this guy, no problem. I'm making calls, I'm making texts. I think if you're getting a full day, and if I'm at all worried, I can just employ extreme power saving mode.
Extreme.
I have stamina. Stamina mode.
You know what? Eat this. It's called the ultra power saving mode, right? Which basically creates a standby time of 7.8 days with 63% of battery left. I think that is unbeatable. Right?
So,
yes, it's gray, and yes, it looks very simple.
And you
but
can only make phone calls and send text messages?
No.
Oh,
I can still go to Facebook and surf the internet and go to Shootout and Google+. Okay. So it almost has... Yeah, well, I'm on Shootout.
Are you? Who else?
So, well, you know what? Just to sum it up, we're getting this all-day battery life.
Yeah. For all 3 devices. Yeah.
No problem.
No problem.
So I've got the 16GB version of the HTC One M8, and yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of room left right now because I have tons of video games and benchmark applications and photos. But the thing is, unlike the M7, you got a micro SD card slot right here now, so you can add an extra 64. So for me, it's a moot point really.
You know what? When it comes to pre-installed software, nothing beats the Galaxy S5. You're getting so many apps and so many pre-installed apps. You almost don't need a connection to your Google Play Store anymore.
There's another word for this. It's called bloatware.
Well, that's how you call it.
You call it extra fun features for your phone that you don't need?
Well, you know what? I can decide if I want to run them or not. Right? Plus, I have a 32 gigabyte version. I can also squeeze in a micro SD card of up to 128 gigabytes. So fine.
I can also do up to 128 gigabytes on my micro SD card for expansion. And actually, Sony's really good with not putting too many extra apps on my phone. They're sleek.
Yeah.
And I love their software, actually. Me, TouchWiz, I've never been able to get my head around it. I don't understand where the apps are going into the back end. I don't understand the order they put them in. I just haven't really ever loved that one. I like what Sony's doing, and if HTC Sense, we'll just get rid of Sense.
Well, no, but I think this is version 6 now, and they've learned that HTC's ecosystem probably isn't going to fly.
Because they have no ecosystem.
Okay. So you're getting fewer HTC apps, and the apps that they have put on there are pretty useful, actually. So even though this is a 16 gig device, they've also learned that we need that micro SD card slot, which they didn't have in the previous generation. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah.
Software-wise, the one thing that I do hate about this device, and I have to bring it up, is when you hit the home button, it goes into Google or it pushes you to Sony's What's New. I don't really care what Sony thinks is What's New.
What's new? Who cares about this? Who cares about Blink Feed? Who cares about this kind of weird version of My Magazine, which is like a Flipboard integration or whatever? I don't care about this. I can always download the third-party apps that I like for having these feeds.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we all live in Taiwan, and the prices are around 22,000 NT, which translates into about $700 US, right?
About that, yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
More or less. I think it's fair to say that in between $600 or $700, all of these devices are just kind of coming.
So it basically comes down to which phone do you love more? Because the price is kind of
Which is the Galaxy S5, of course.
Which is the Z2.
You can't go wrong with the M8.